What's going on, world? It's your main man, Kareem, Rashid, the voice, and your host of Clearing the Wreckage. Yes, we've got another great episode in store for you today. Once again, I don't know what you got going on. You could be driving to work, but all I ask is that you please pay attention to the road. Or you could be at work on a lunch break trying to get a quick sneak peek into this episode. Please clock back in on time. Yes! Or you could be doing something that is very important, to me at least, and that is on the toilet. Just do not forget to flush. Yes! I love it. I freaking love it. Wreckage Clearers, what's up? Wreckage Clearing community, we are back again. Man, I walked into the coffee shop. Woo! You've ordered my drink for me again for the second week in a row, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you are amazing. Why are you so awesome? Just why are you so awesome? Why is it that you are just so amazing? I'm talking to you who show up every single week and listen to me. Listen to me go on about all my wreckage, all my havoc, all my destruction that I've caused. But you also listen to the solution. You also listen to how to clear it and how I am clearing it. For that, I want to say thank you. If you are new to this podcast, to this conversation, please go back to episode 1 so that you can get a gist of what is going on. I am telling a story, particularly my story, well, God's story that is being written still to this day because I am still here on this earth. So what's up? What are we going to talk about today, Kareem? Well, I think we're going to do the 4 A's. I started this series where I said I'm going to go ahead and discuss all of the 4 A's with you. We already discussed last week acknowledging and admitting. We talked the week before that about awareness, which is the first A. So this week, we're going to talk about acceptance. Yes. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's dig into it. What is it all about? First of all, I got a question for you. Do you accept where you are in life? That's a good question, Kareem. Man, that's a good one. That's a deep one. That's a good one. Thanks for asking. I need some time to think about that. That's fine. I'll give you some time to think about it while I continue this conversation with you. Throughout the whole conversation, you can listen to me, and at the end of the conversation, we can discuss it. That's cool. Do you accept the stage that you are at in your life? There's so many different phases or life stages, as we would call them, that we go through in our lives. Do you accept the stage you're at? Well, first and foremost, as we've discussed, let's do a quick recap. You must have a moment of silence to become aware. That first A has to be done. Then you must acknowledge the reality. Then you can admit that, yes, this is the reality. This is where I am at in life, and this is why. Then and only then you are able to accept. Once again, let's say this. You cannot accept what you do not admit or acknowledge, and you cannot acknowledge what you are not aware of. This is just a simple fact of my life. Now, I am not the doctorate of science. I am not a doctorate of psychology. I do not know everything. I am not the end all be all. I am just your buddy. I'm your friend. I'm your brother that is here with you on this journey alongside of you. I am here to only share my experience with you in hopes that it gives you just that, hope, right? You know, and it gives you a little bit of might and courage and some strength to go about your days. But let's remember this. For me, at least, I could not accept what I did not admit or acknowledge, and I could not acknowledge what I was not aware of. People were telling me over and over again throughout my life, Kareem, you may have a problem. Kareem, stop. Kareem, slow down. But what they didn't know is that it wasn't that easy. You know, sure, I'll just stop if I can. They didn't know that. And neither did I. Because I was not aware of any of that until I was able to take a beat, to have a moment. Remember, my journey, my story is what I'm sharing with you. And how I was only able to become aware once I had that moment of silence, a moment to myself. How I then noticed that I was practicing insanity. That's what was going on. I became aware of that because I was doing the same thing over and over, and I was expecting a different result. I saw that I was just like a baby, you know, so the baby, remember that whole baby analogy that I gave you? It's the perfect analogy because that is who I recognized that I was acting just like a baby. Yes, I saw that in me. I saw that whenever I was in discomfort, whenever I was in pain, I cried, I yelled, I did not know how to express my emotions in any other way except that. And man, I was waiting for mom to come with the breast, to come through with the bottle, or to come through with the pacifier. Here I am as an adult. I'm not receiving the breast anymore. I'm not receiving the bottle. I'm not receiving the pacifier. So I had to reach for my own bottle. I had to reach for my own breast. I had to reach for my own pacifier. Yes, and that was just the analogy I gave you of sex, drugs, and alcohol. Anyway, it's not really a laughing matter, but you know me, I gotta laugh at myself. If I can't laugh at myself, I can't laugh, period. That's what I want you to take from that part right there. Laugh at yourself. But you have to be able to accept yourself first in order to laugh at yourself. I saw that I was totally afraid. I even had to admit that I do not know if I can do this. That's when I was able to acknowledge, after I became aware, that I was able to admit I don't know if I'm able to stay away from a drink. Can I do this? When the pain hits, am I able to abstain? I don't know what to do with this pain, with my emotions. I am just like the baby. I also had to admit that I have no control over this. This is a disease. And when I am in dis-ease, I do not like the feeling. You see how I broke that word down for you? See, I did not learn that until I became aware. until I acknowledged, until I admitted that this is a disease and I must be in dis-ease, and that is why I reach for the bottle, because I do not like that feeling. And once I'm able to do all of that, then comes the fourth A. Then and only then, now I'm able to accept. I'm able to accept everything that I became aware of, everything that I acknowledged, everything that I admitted about myself, about the wreckage that I've caused. Now I can accept that. What does that mean, Kareem? What does it mean? What does it mean to accept? What does that look like for you, Kareem? What does that look like to me? Well, let's first go over what it means to accept, because that's the first question you asked me. What does it mean? It means to take or receive willingly. Oh, willingly, man, that word right there. Because I wasn't able to accept any of that crap if I wasn't able to become aware, I wasn't able to acknowledge it and admit it. I also had to be willing to accept and receive that. I could have looked at all of that and said, no. When I had that moment of silence and I was aware of that, I could say, nah, deny, do not enter. I could have put the signs, I could have just kept those signs up. So to accept means to take or receive willingly, to respond, or answer affirmatively, to undertake the responsibility of, to include, to accommodate, or to reconcile oneself to, or to regard as true, or sound, to believe. That's what it means to accept. Let's continue on. Let's give some more things about what it means to accept. Here are some synonyms of accept. Agree to, consent to, say yes to, assent to, go along with, submit to, yield to, have no objection to. So for me to accept, it means for me to agree to consent to. I had to consent to, oh my goodness. I had to say yes to, yep, you're right. I am just like baby. I acknowledge that. I have to agree to the fact that, oh my God, this is reality. I am so freaking scared. I don't know how to live without partaking in alcohol and drugs. I don't know how to not reach for the bottle when the pain hits. I admit that I am scared. I admit that I have been a liar. I admit that when the pain got too tough and too hard, I did not know how to manage my emotions or regulate them. I admit that, and I admit that I am only at the place that I am at because of me. Now, what about acceptance? Acceptance is basically just the act of accepting, right? So it means the same thing. It's just more of the act of. So it's more of the process or the act of accepting. Favorable reception, receiving in favor, the act of assenting or believing, the act of taking or receiving something. Some of those synonyms are concession, agreement, reception, receiving, acknowledging, affirming, and resignation. I had to resign to the fact that, oh my goodness, well, maybe it is true. I have a problem. I have the disease of addiction. I must be an alcoholic. I had to resign to that. I give up. I give up. I put in my resignation letter. I cannot do this on my own. Acceptance. That's what acceptance is. Welcoming in, including. And so at that part or that point of my journey, I was able to accept the reality. All right? So I was able to receive the reality, and the reality was, here I am again. Oh my gosh. Kareem, here you are again. You slipped. You relapsed. I put myself and only myself in this situation. I am the main cause of this. I am the root cause. No one and no one else is at fault. No one put a bottle up to my lips and a gun to my head and said, drink or I'll shoot. I did this because I do not know how to deal with life. I only know this way to cope, this way to survive. I accept that. I receive that. I welcome that. I include that part of myself as part of me. I agree with that statement. I believe it. I assent to the fact. I also accept and receive that I have a disease of addiction and I have absolute almost zero control over this. I accept that, and I accept the fact that I need help. I accept the help that's going to come in. I receive it. I welcome it. I accept the pain. I receive the discomfort. Woo, boy, I'm starting to preach. I receive all of that because it's going to hit. It's going to hit. Now that I have decided, I became aware, I've acknowledged, I've admitted I have a problem. There must be a solution. I need to find it. That solution, the first part of it, is me accepting that I do not like discomfort. I do not like pain. What I could not accept before was the pain and the discomfort. So I had to come into acceptance of that. I lived like this for years because I do not like pain and discomfort. And I started this coping mechanism at an early age, trying to erase the pain, and it's all I know. Remember? Just like baby. Baby does not know how to get out of the pain. Baby is just irritated. They've had a bowel movement, and they don't know how to get out of the pain. All they know is that mom is going to come and hold them and put them right up against her bosom and put my mouth on her nipple. And then I'm going to be at ease. I am no longer going to be in dis-ease. And that is all I knew, folks. That's all I knew. That is how I erase the pain. That is how I get rid of the discomfort, by reaching for the bottle. So I could not accept that earlier in my life. I could not accept that even during that time of my life when I decided to go back and use alcohol and drugs again. I couldn't even accept that, because if I had accepted it, none of that stuff wouldn't have happened in my journey. I accept that I did this. I accept that I arrested my brain development at age 12. I became addicted to the feeling and the effect that alcohol and drugs produce in me. It helped me feel good. It helped me feel better. It gave me courage. It made me feel unstoppable, and not in a good way. Unstoppable in a bad way, as to I was not going to stop, and no one was going to stop me from trying to ease this pain or erase it, or all of this hurt and this disease or this discomfort that I was feeling. I will do anything. I will rob you. I will steal out of the store. I will steal beer and liquor out of the fridge, right out of the cooler. I will call out of work. I will do anything for this feeling. I would do anything also for this feeling to subside. Where are you at, Mom? How come I don't have your breast anymore? How come I don't have a bottle filled with milk? How come there's no pacifier going inside of my mouth? I don't know what else to do. I must drink. Yes, I receive that. I accept that as valid. This is a true statement about me. This is reality. I am the problem. Now I am willing and ready to accept the solution. Remember that accepting means to receive willingly. Now I am able to receive this willingly. Whatever the solution is, I accept it. Are you able to willingly receive and accept whatever the solution is for what you're going through in your life at this time? Well, I know for me at that point, I was ready to accept it. I became willing and ready to receive it. What does that mean for me? I don't know what that means. That could mean praying all day to a power greater than me. That means cleaning out my closet and putting up these words of affirmation and putting up different praise and thank you notes to the higher power that's been helping me, and go into that room and write in my journal. If that means me writing every single moment that I get in the day in my journal, I must do that. I accept it. If that means believing that I do not have the power, but there is a power that is going to help me, then I believe in it. I accept it. I accept it. I accept that my therapist recommended trying out a different support group. Because I accept it, I will receive that, and I will submit to it. I accept that I have another chance at this. I accept and receive life. The fact that I did not die while doing all of this and creating all of this wreckage and havoc, I accept that. I have breath. Which means now I have hope, because as long as I have breath, I have hope. As long as you have breath, you have hope. Do you accept that? I accept all of that. I received it, and I accept it. Man, whew. So I had to accept all of those things. So the great part of acceptance that I had to accept as well is that this help is going to come in. And I'm going to accept the love that I'm going to receive from people. I must accept the love of this power greater than me that did not allow me to die. I embrace that. I accept that. What is it that you need to accept? What is it? I asked you this question at the beginning of the episode. There may be something that you need to accept, and in order to do so, you have to first become aware. You have to first become aware so that you can acknowledge and admit and then accept it. And I had to accept myself, all the parts of me, all that came with me. I had to accept that people were telling me all my freaking life, Kareem, there's something wrong. Why are you doing this? You may need to seek help. Until I became aware of that on my own, that, man, this is reality. These people were right. I was hearing that all of my life, but I did not want to listen. I was hearing that, People were telling me that, but I did not want to listen. I was hearing that inside of my mind, but I pushed it away. I suppressed it. Yeah. I understand that it may be difficult to practice these 4 A's in life, but this is something that I do now on a daily basis. I must have a moment of silence to become aware. I must then acknowledge, and only then am I able to acknowledge once I am silent and I become aware of what reality truly is, what is really going on. And then I'm able to admit that. I'm able to allow myself to enter in. I'm able to look at that do not enter sign and take it down and walk right through it and go, okay, I see fear right here. I see that I am angry at this person. Why am I so angry at this person? Oh, because this person did this and they hurt me. And I don't want to forgive them because they don't deserve forgiveness. Why do they not deserve forgiveness, Kareem, when you have been forgiven? Yes. Forgive them and do not be in anger anymore toward them, because they are human just like you. And that's another thing. Accepting myself so that I can accept other people. You cannot accept yourself. You cannot accept anyone else until you accept yourself. Until you realize when you look in the mirror at yourself and you look within and you look at somebody else and you realize, man, that person is probably just like me, dealing with a bunch of wreckage, has a bunch of havoc and destruction going on the inside that they may not even know about. Let me just show grace to that person. Let me just forgive that person. Matter of fact, let me accept that person just as they are. See, the power that was greater than me accepted me just as I was. Even when I was going through all of that, even when I kept reaching for the bottle, when I kept reaching for the drugs, when I kept reaching for the sex, when I kept reaching for anything that erased the pain, anything that took away the discomfort at that moment, instead of reaching for that power source, instead of calling on God, I called on something of this world, a substance, to give me what I thought I was looking for. But truly, I had a big hole in my heart. But that hole was blocked because I had a gate around it. It was barricaded, and it said, no trespassing. All violators will be fined. Do not enter. You do not have access. We do not accept you coming in to look within this part. So that is why on every episode, my Wreckage Clearers, I tell you, take some time to look within so that the wreckage can begin to clear, because otherwise it cannot clear. Otherwise, if you are not aware, hold on, let me preach to you now. If you don't become aware, if you don't take a moment to yourself, you will not know what is going on inside of you. There could be deep buried resentment and hatred toward yourself, like it was for me. I had to accept that I hated myself. I hated that I was succumb to this disease of addiction. I hated myself, that I continued to do something that was destroying my body, that was destroying my mind. I hated myself that I started using alcohol at an early age. Why did I start? I hated myself. I hated who I became. But I had to become aware first of that. I hated that everybody was telling me, oh my gosh, Kareem, you need to slow down. I hated them for telling me that. I was filled with anger and resentment, but I did not know that until I became aware, and I acknowledged that, and then I was able to admit, man, this is why I became a thief. This is why I started drinking so much, so heavily. This is why I started turning to drugs so much, because I do not know how to cope with life. That is what I had to accept about myself. Man, I am just like a baby. I have never grown up. Oh my gosh. I still react in this way. I still throw a temper tantrum to get my way. I'm still extremely manipulative. Until I get what I want. I am extremely selfish and self-centered. I had became aware of that. That Kareem will do whatever it takes. Whatever. To get that fix. To get that next high. To get that next drink. And if you think I'm capping to you, or if you think I'm lying to you, I promise you, I've done so many things just so that I can feel better. Trust me when I say that. Things that I thought that I would never do in my life. Remember the last conversation I had with you last week? I said that. I had invisible lines put up in my mind. Oh, I would never do that. I would never do this. But I did it because I wanted to drink. I wanted to get high. I wanted the pain to go away. But I had to accept that about myself. That there is something about me that does not know how to regulate his emotions. There's also something about me that never learned how to regulate his emotions. There's also something that happened in his childhood to where he was told not to cry. So all he knows how to do is do what? Suppress or repress those emotions. Do not cry. Be a man. So I did not know how. And that is nobody's fault. I had to accept that. Well, I became aware of that. Hey, this is just the way it was. This is nobody's fault. This is no one's fault. This is my fault. This is my fault for not doing my own research, for not saying no. You know what? I am not weak because I'm crying. I am not soft because I want to shed a tear. I need to let out my emotions, and instead I should have been like, no, I am human. So I am allowed to feel. I am allowed to emote. I am allowed to show my emotions. Doesn't mean that I'm less than a man. See, I didn't come to that realization until I had a moment of silence. And then I was able to acknowledge, admit, and then accept. Those, my friends, are the 4 A's for you. So if you're walking around in your life, in your journey right now, wondering why, oh my gosh, I cannot accept anything that is going on with the world. I cannot accept any of these people. I am angry. I am mad. I am mad at my boyfriend. I am mad at my husband. I am upset at my wife. I cannot accept what my wife is doing. I cannot accept what my girlfriend is doing. I cannot accept what's going on at my job. It's because you ain't take a moment of silence to become aware so that you can acknowledge that this is you and admit that this is all you. It's not them. You are the problem. And if you are the problem, then there is a solution. And let me say that reverse. If you are not the problem, then there is not a solution. Because you'll continue to go on and be like, nope, I'm not the problem. Everybody else is. I'm righteous. I'm self-righteous. I got it all together. When you don't, because no one on earth does. Doesn't matter your status. Doesn't matter your social class. Doesn't matter the type of job you have. Doesn't matter how much money you make. Doesn't matter how many followers you have on social media. You're still human just like me. Just like me. With parts about you that you have to be willing to accept. I love you guys. I was going to share a poem with you, but I'm not, because I'll share that poem some other time, because that poem has to do with accepting other people. But right now, we got to accept ourselves first. And I just shared with you how to do that, how I did that, what it looked like for me. I don't know what it looks like for you. I want you to answer that question. What is it that you need to accept about yourself, need to accept about your life, what's going on right now? And maybe, just maybe, acceptance is the answer to all your problems. I love you. Thank you for being here with me. I'll be with y'all next week sometime. Well, you know what time next week, on Monday. I'll walk in the coffee shop, and I'll buy my own drink next Monday. You ain't got to buy another drink for me. Anyway, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Clearing the Wreckage Podcast. And don't forget to share this on your Instagram stories. Share this episode with friends. Share this podcast with your loved ones. And as I always leave you, take some time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. Peace.